How to keep this border open when Northern Ireland is now outside the EU, but the Irish Republic is inside? The answer so far has been that the North effectively remains inside the European single market, so goods on trucks like these get checked on arrival in Northern Ireland, even if they're coming from the rest of the UK. But for unionists and many Conservatives, like this former Northern Ireland secretary, that can't go on.
The key change we need is that we must ensure that Northern Ireland is no longer subject to thousands of EU single market rules over which it has no say and made by people it doesn't elect and can't remove. That was at the heart of the whole Brexit vote. And in essence, at the moment, we haven't delivered Brexit for Northern Ireland, and we need to do that.
The deal would include 2 lanes for goods entering Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK. A green lane for goods that would stay in Northern Ireland and need minimal checks. A red lane for goods that might cross the border into the Irish Republic and so would need more checks to go into the EU. And there'd be a body to arbitrate on any disputes between the UK and the EU, which will probably include the European Court of Justice in some form.
Unless this is solved, then relations between ourselves and the European Union can't be normalised, and there remains the threat that the EU might take retaliatory actions should they get fed up with us and say, look, you need to play ball and honour the commitments you've made. And that could run the risk of a trade war, which at this moment in time, with the cost of living crisis, is the last thing anyone needs.
Rishi Sunak paid a flying visit to Belfast at the end of last week, trying to convince the Democratic Unionists to sign up. But they seem unconvinced, as is Boris Johnson, who's letting it be known he doesn't like what he's hearing about the deal. So the Labour leader is offering to help out.
The question now is whether the Prime Minister is strong enough to get it through his own backbenchers. And what I've said is, on Northern Ireland, the national interest comes first. So we will put party politics to one side. We will vote with the government if there's a deal to vote for.
Which sounds friendly, but actually puts even more pressure on the Prime Minister. So even if there is a deal, is Rishi Sunak ready to risk putting it to MPs?
Well, Andy joins us live now from Westminster. Evening, Andy, and that's a big question, isn't it? Is there going to be a deal that the PM can get past his backbenchers?
Well, Tessa, I think we're not quite there yet. I know that WhatsApp groups of Conservative MPs were very active at the weekend when they thought they were going to be presented with a deal today, and they certainly felt they needed more time to look at anything. And I know that the DUP is also concerned that their central concern that they basically have EU regulations governing what happens in Northern Ireland, regulations into which they have no input because the UK has left the EU. They feel that has not yet been properly addressed. So then the question is, if Rishi Sunak doesn't have a number of his own Conservative MPs and the Democratic Unionist Party, if he doesn't have those on side, is he really ready to take the risk and try and go ahead with the deal? And Labour saying we'll support you is not very helpful because he doesn't want to get anything through with the help of the opposition and in defiance of a number of his own MPs. So we think we're getting close to the end game, but we're not quite there yet.
OK, Andy, thank you.